Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of M.A.P.S Paranormal Talk. We have a special guest tonight. We got David Ullman with us. Hey David, how's it going tonight?
I'm going good. I'm just trying to set up my camera.
Yeah, but Gene was having some issues, so he's not on yet. So let's see if he gets his computer figured out.
I hope so. Oh God, come on, straighten out. There we go. And I've got my dead bell here.
Oh, perfect.
I'm just trying to find a place. I'll put it on top of the camera, so you guys can see it. I think you can see it.
Yep, we can see it.
All right.
So for people that don't really know anything about the Ullman House, could you give us a brief description about what's all going on about it for our watchers, viewers?
Sure. My house sits about 150 feet down the private driveway from where Sharon Tate's house once stood.
Okay.
And my father and I built this house. Here, let me just turn this on. Built this house about 23 years ago now. And since I've lived here, we've had strange things happen here, like voices have been recorded. And I'm not talking about through a echo box or a spirit box or any of that. I'm talking about just, you can hear, it's like, what the hell was that?
Wow, okay.
Objects have been moved from one room to the other. Strange things. We later thought, originally I thought it was connected to the Tate murders. It turns out it's much more than that. The house is an active ghost hotel, let us say.
Okay.
It's got so much activity going on here, and we've talked to people like Marianne Winkowski and Lisa Williams, and they've all said that the house is like just loaded with activity. And famously enough, Marianne Winkowski, the real life ghost whisperer, said, she goes, "Oh, honey, I could clean your house up in no time, but 5 minutes later, your house would have plenty of people there."
Oh, geez. So do they think there's like a portal? I can't even speak. Portal?
A portal, yeah. That's what she says the house is. It's got a portal in here.
Okay, so yeah, no matter if she cleans it out, it'll still be right back full again.
Yeah, she says there's not much I can do. Because I don't know what you want me. She goes, I can clean it, but you'll have a whole new set of spirits in there. And I'm like,
yep.
And I apologize to your audience because I was facing the other camera that I thought.
Nope, you're fine.
I'm like, wait a second. I'm looking at that. It's like, no, that's not the camera. It's like, oh, me.
I was wondering why you were staring off. I was like,
yeah, no. I was staring off because just.
All right, perfect.
Forget about it.
Now, a question about your house. Was there a reason why you picked that place to build your house, or it was just?
It was the fact that it was $40,000 for the vacant lot.
Okay, yep, that says enough.
And there was also $100,000 worth of improvements here.
Okay,
so you probably remember that the house. It's not like, oh, you were devoted to Sharon Tate. Oh, you wanted to build a house near the Tate property. I'm going, seriously? No. I lived in my apartment for some 18 years, and I was tired of paying rent.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it was like, it gets to a point, it's like, saying, how much more rent am I throwing away?
Yeah, how much you're throwing away on rent, and you could be using that for paying for a house. Makes a lot more sense.
So my dad stumbled upon this place, and this.
Whoop. There it
Thanks,
is.
spirits. Gee, maybe in that case, I'll turn the REM pod on as well. Shut up. God, just now that I know where the hell the camera is, it's a lot. Shut up. You're gonna. Want to put it over here? No, you want to put it where? All right, great.
So there, now it's happy.
There you go. Yeah, now it's happy. So, in a nutshell, it was a matter of just dumb luck. My dad found the lot, and it was the irony was I hadn't been here in some 20 years because we all used to come up here in high school to look at the property.
Yeah.
So, I'm coming up here, and my dad drives up, after I got up here, and I'm like, oh my God, a flood of memories. This is where the Tate was going. And he's like, I don't care about that. I'm telling him, because I care about this lot. Because nice lot, because it's very steep. because the hillside is probably
Yeah,
about
the hill was. I seen that. It was really steep.
it's steep, you know. So he says, "Yeah, we can build on it." I said, "Oh wow, oh wow, freedom from my apartment."
Yep.
It was not like I'm building a haunted house. Who the hell knew? We didn't
No. Yeah, you didn't intend to do that.
know. And you know, people said, "Oh, you're just trying to exploit the Tate murders,"
Yeah.
and I'd like to say, "Show me how."
Yeah.
Show me where I have profited in some way, shape, or form from my experience here.
Yep.
Oh, you've been on 10 paranormal reality TV shows.
Yep.
Yes. So what does that mean? You know, I'm not like the Queen Mary that's open 24/7 or not 24/7, but, 18/7,
Yeah.
65 days a year. It's like, I live here.
Yep.
This isn't a revenue generating
Yeah, it's
location.
your home too. So yeah.
I went so far as to put cameras in, and I'll show you what I mean. Right there, you see
Yep.
that?
Yeah, I see it.
Right there, you see.
That's actually
That's
what I.
a camera. That's
Yeah,
one
I
of 30 cameras in the house
yeah I
that I've
read that.
installed.
Read that. That was actually a very smart idea to do that
Well,
with all the stuff that's going on.
and also if something happens to go missing and I can't find it, it's like,
Yep.
oh, there's my print. It's like, or something gets moved, and it's like, well,
Moved. It was there, and now it's over here. Yep. That is very smart. Question. Let's back up a few years. You said you got interested in the paranormal when you were younger. Can you give us some, why? What all? Anything that happened when you were younger? Or?
yeah, when I was about 5 years old, I remember, getting up out of my bed and going into my parents' bedroom and crawling in between them and their king size bed. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and turning to my right and seeing, here was the configuration. The bed sat in the middle, and on either side of the bed, there was a doorway going into the bathroom. That was two bathrooms. There was a big shared bathroom behind the wall that was the living room, not the bedroom. So I sat up and I saw this object sitting at about 4 feet off the ground, and it was hard to describe what it was because I couldn't tell you what it was, but it had colors, and it had a color of blue, red, and I think it was blue, red, and green, and it was like not flashing but glowing, and it went from one door around the bed. So here's the master bed, went from one door on one side around the bed, and I'm like this going, tracking this thing, watching it, and to the other door, and it disappeared. And I was like,
wow.
what the hell was it? And I'm like 5 years old. So I'm not like a little, like, at 5 years old, I was pretty aware of things that were going on. So I wasn't like, oh my God, it's a fairy. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I know what I saw. And it was
You knew the difference.
It was this object. And I'm like, well, and I'm not scared. I'm like, what the hell was that? And that really is where it all started from. So I started getting really intrigued and curious about the paranormal. And in those days, there weren't TV shows about.
No, God, no. Yep. No, I know when I started, there was nothing either. No one even really talked about it when I was into it. They'd all think you're a loony bin. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you didn't. Well, I think 2000s they had Ghost Hunters or something started.
Ghost Hunters came out in October of 2004.
Okay, so so back before there wasn't no TV shows. If you said anything to anybody about it, what the heck are you doing out in the cemetery, you weirdo?
Yeah, what are you doing looking for? What do you mean, ghosts?
Yep. Oh yeah. I know that. I've got those weird looks in the beginning of the start of all that.
Right. So, I mean, and I moved in 2002. So again, I'm like, there's stuff going on here and I can't explain it. And I just was going, all right, so by 2004, I reached out to some people, like Robert Wardowski, who was an author who had written several books on the paranormal, and he was local. And I asked him to come out to the house to visit and do an investigation. So he came out here and he got stuff, and that was in, July of 2004. I brought some people out, and then he came out to the investigation on August 9th 2004. So the 35th anniversary of the murders, he's here.
Okay.
And he's getting stuff, and I'm taking pictures with a still camera,
Yep.
35 millimeter high speed film with a
Yep.
wrinkled camera. And I can show you some of the pictures here. Hold on one second. I'll get to those images. Here we go.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I see it.
And stop going off. Shut up. And this is my mom's second cousin who has a video camera, and he was videotaping.
Okay.
So he didn't see anything. So we watched the video. There was nothing there in front of the camera.
Wow.
When that was taken, it was just nothing there.
That's cool.
And people said, "Oh, it's the camera strap." He said, "Yeah, all right, it's the camera strap. How come the consistency of the color?"
Yeah, it's all the same, exactly the same out. Yeah. That is pretty neat.
Right. So that was one of the pictures that was taken. This one, here, take it out of sleep. Then I won't get the reflection. Shut up. This one was shot. And forget the stain in this. Forget this thing. This is staining.
Yep.
This, where my finger is, that shouldn't be there. And you can actually see through the discoloration.
Yeah.
Notice, look at how clearly defined it is.
That
Where
is,
it goes.
that is interesting.
And you can see the girl's purse. You can see the outline of the sofa pillows.
Yeah. That is interesting.
It's nuts.
Wow.
And it's on the negative, and we've had specialists look at it and photo analysis done. Goes, yeah, there's no explanation for that. That shouldn't be there. And then this in front of the gate that was there in 2004 while construction was being done.
Oh, there's that image again.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And again, it's translucent in
Yeah.
some parts of it, and it changes color. So it can't be, again, the camera strap.
Yeah. No, it couldn't. That is freaking, yeah. Huh. That's something.
Again, high-speed film, not digital. This is with a real camera. People don't understand what the hell that means, but that's
right. Not no more. Trying to tell my daughter, showing her my old camera. What's that? So, what all happened when the house was being built? Because I read that there was things going on.
Oh, during construction, my laborers were having problems. I mean, they were saying, "David, why is?" And they're asking me in Spanish. They said, "Where's the air hammer?" It's like, why would I know where the air hammer? Well, because it was in this room yesterday when we left, and now it's not there today. And I'm going, and they put it in other parts of the house.
Jeez.
I said, why would I do that? I said, I'm not interested in messing with you guys.
Yeah, I want to get the house built. I don't want to pay you more.
Exactly. What is with you? You stop that shit.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a regular fun house here with the activity. All right, you go stay. You stop whining. Stop whining.
Now, I saw in one of your interviews. Now they were saying that you have a high concentrate of EMF coming out of the ground, or something like that, or of matter.
Well, what Dr. Barry Taffet said, he's the parapsychologist that was here, and I can read to you from what his reports were. Yes, these are his reports blown up to supersize, but to show with people what's been going on here. But let me read you the appendix 2 for the Omen House. Paranormal, disembodied voices and footsteps, and this was written in 2005. This document, not this print, but I mean what I'm reading from was written in 2005, and Dr. Taff had worked on such cases as the original Entity case in Culver City.
Yep.
He worked on the movie Poltergeist with Steven Spielberg as a special consultant about the paranormal and stuff. And what Barry had said was, and what you're referencing is that the DC EMF levels are off the charts here at the house. And what he said is after investigating here after a year, oh, look who's there. Gene's there.
Gene made it.
Made it. Finally, made it.
So as I was saying, so Barry said that in his experience in the entity case, the spirits would manifest and the
What's that?
That is me.
Do you have another thing?
Give me a minute. Is that better?
yes, no spirit box there.
Sorry, thanks.
Okay.
So as I was saying, so he said that the house, that in the entity case, when a spirit would manifest, the meters would jump to 2,000 milligauss positive or 2,000 milligauss negative, and then after the manifestation, they would return to normal.
Okay.
He said in this house, they're always elevated.
Always
And
up.
let me get this correct. The DC geomagnetometer, which was a natural DC EMF meter that he had, which was digital, which only had a range of 2,000 milligauss positive to 2,000 milligauss negative, was peaking in this house.
Oh, wow.
And he says the meters were limited to that range. It could have been 5,000 milligauss, but he would never know because the meters were limited.
Yeah, they were peaked.
Which is normal is between 300 and 500 milligauss positive.
Yep. Wow.
So this is what he said. He said paranormal, disembodied voices and footsteps, luminous orbs, apparitions of Jay Sebring, Sharon Tate, and Abigail Folger, apports, people being touched, grabbed, shoved, and hair pulled.
Jeez.
Physical disorientation, psychokinetic displays, objects being thrown at people. He then goes on to the geophysical. Ambient DC to low frequency magnetic field throughout the entire house ranges from 4 milligauss to 100 milligauss.
Holy crap.
Where normal is under 2 milligauss.
Yep.
Positive. Compasses, analog and digital, behave oddly in that they point anywhere other than north. At the front door, the needle points south to southeast rather than north. At the rear stairwell, which is the staircase at the bottom of the stairs here, the same odd bearings occur as in several other bathrooms, and the bathrooms in the earthen wall room where the compass needle spins wildly and cannot find any true north.
Wow.
And that's in the corner of the earthen wall room. The geomagnetometer reads up to 1,700 milligauss. Normal is anywhere between 3 and 500 milligauss. Yep. At the rear stairwell, while at the front door, it drops to 0, then abruptly reverses polarity several hundred points.
Wow. Whoa.
This is a story I got to read to you. During the approach of an electrical storm, the geomagnetometer reached the upper end range of 2 Gauss and then overranged, which I mentioned to you. The electromagnetic geomagnetometer read a full 5 Gauss. Again, normal is between 3 and 500 milligauss. At the same time, DC to low frequency electric fields in the house ranged to well over 2 kilovolts per meter, where normal is well below 20 to 30 volts per meter.
Wow.
When positive ions from Santa Ana winds crossed the house boundary, they turned into negative ions. And what he was doing was he had an air ion counter.
Yeah.
He was over at the over at the top of the stairwell, and he's taking measurements, and it's using 22,000 parts per million per cubic centimeter. Positive. He goes outside. It turns out they're negative.
Oh, Jesus.
The same readings, but negative. He goes, they can't understand it.
That don't make sense.
But that was when we had these huge. The winds were blowing like crazy, so there was lots and lots of static electricity.
Yep.
But he says they reverse polarity when they come in from outside.
That's nuts.
Here he says, here are the physical effects. Symptoms displayed by approximately 67% of the visitors: anxiety, irritability, pressure in and around the head, fatigue, sinus pain, joint pain, neck pain, back pain, stomach pain, nausea, vertigo, ears feeling stuffed, disorientation, and violent nightmares.
Wow. Yeah, I was just gonna ask if anybody is feeling to getting any physically sick or anything from all that.
People have reported feeling like they're rocking back and forth in a boat in certain parts of the house where it's perfectly level.
Oh, geez. So, what is the biggest paranormal event that you've witnessed in your house?
Uh, well, I mean, I've seen once and only once an apparition of one of the victims here.
Okay.
And that's the only apparition. I've seen lots of shadow figures and people that I've seen in the corner of my eyes, and then I turn and I look and they're
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
Had the figurines on my aquarium. Oh, that's right. One of the figurines on the aquarium, this Beetlejuice figurine, which is
I've seen that. Yep.
flying off the aquarium on the anniversary of the murders at
Oh, wow.
the exact moment we suspect, which was when Sharon Tate actually physically died.
Okay.
Her body and her soul split at
Okay.
12:20 on the morning of August 9th. And I was here with my friend. It's probably got to be 10 years ago now. I'm pretty sure it was the 50th. So maybe it's 6 years ago. We were here, and my friend Joey and I were the last ones here. He's the artist who painted that piece of artwork,
Okay.
as well as the piece right there, Sharon. You can barely see.
That's a beautiful painting.
And on the aquarium in there, on the canopy, sits these figurines, and we're talking, and he's standing right where that doorway is, facing inward. So he's there facing this way, and I'm right there facing him, kitty corner. And this figurine goes flying off the aquarium.
Wow.
And literally, it's flying through the air. And I'm like, in mid-flight, I turn to my left as I see it going, and I go, what? And I turn to my left as I see that. And in mid-flight, I see this going like this figurine, and it lands right at his feet, and the head comes off. And I'm like, that's got to be a good 20 feet away. I have no idea what the hell.
Wow.
And I look at my watch. I said, oh my God, what time is it? And I looked. What's funny is it's right now, what is this, 6:20. And it's 6 hours from now. It's 12:20. And I go, oh my God, it's 12:20. I heard a voice say, this is the time when I died.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what the huh? And it was like Sharon. It's like going, and I look at Joey, and he's like pale white going. And I'm like, Joey, he goes, I just saw that thing launch right at me, man. And I'm like, I caught it mid-flight, Joey, and I'm like, it's like the contrast between two people. I'm excited, and he's like, just satisfied, like, what the fuck? Like this going, it just launched at, and I'm like, I caught it mid-flight. I turn in the middle of it, and I see it flying in the air, going, holy shit! And he's like, I go, that is so cool. And he's like, 12:20. I said, oh my God. And that's what I said. And I said, Sharon's just came through and said, this is the time when she actually died. And he's like, and I'm like, I can't believe it. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, we've had other things happen. I mean, during a seance a few years back, I stopped the seance, which you're not supposed to do, apparently.
No, you're not.
It's my house, and I don't give up. God, you. And I'd argue. I had two psychics, and they don't exactly at the time. One of them, who's passed away, was Alma Carey, and at the other end of the table is Lilia Caron Willis. So, and we're at the table. The table is probably about eight feet across. And then I've got people all around the table. So there's probably about 12 of us, maybe about 10 of us at the table. And I say, stop the seance. And they both goes, why? What do you mean? Don't do it. And I said, you got to stop the seance. I said, I heard a man's voice. And I don't want to go spend 3 hours of time listening to all this mumbo jumbo to finally get to this spot to then.
Yep.
I said, because we're recording this with somebody on a camcorder recording this, I said, I want to do it for this purpose alone. Because I hate it when, we're going to review this footage and later on we're going to put it through the audio oscillator and we're going to stabilize this and we're going to drop it. I'm not into that bullshit. I'm into doing it down and dirty, which means You hear the voice right then. Time out.
Figure it out.
I said, guy on the camera. I said, play that, rewind, rack that back a half a minute now where we are right now. I said, play it back and tell me if you hear something. And he goes, I don't believe it. He goes, I hear a man's voice saying, let it go, Mija. And I said, play the record. So they had 3 digital recorders on the table as well. So we had 3 digitals and the guy recording it. And I said, play the first one back. Thing. Man's whispery voice saying like this, let it go, Mija. Or it was even clearer. I was like, let it go, Mija. I said, play the second recorder back. Same thing. Third recorder. I said, is that what you're hearing? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I got it clear as a bell on this thing. I said, I can hear it on the record. And I said, that's why I stopped it. I said, there's the reason why. So I couldn't believe it. And then there's this girl that's sitting at the table, and this was a paid event through one of the ghost investigation teams events that was there. And afterwards she goes, that was my father. He died several years. He died I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. She said, of cancer, and I haven't been able to go on with my life. Wow. And I'm like, holy crap. You mean to tell me we have a bilingual, EVP, and the fact that it's clear as a bell, and it's not through a spirit box or the scanners. Yes. Hi. Oh, did you hear that? And everybody's going, well, I heard hi. I heard hey. I said, what's the difference? It's not the person's voice. It's through a radio transmission that it's picking up of a signal, and it could be a cell phone transmission. It doesn't matter, but it's not the freaking individual's voice.
Yeah,
so
that's
at best, it's providing you with an audio communication, not their voice, but a communication, like giving you information, like you're reading from a textbook, you're reading from a note that they left, or something like that. At best, with this stupid crap that I'm talking about here at the house, it's their voice.
You hear it.
You hear it. Yeah. And now with all the cameras in the house, we are able to record these incidents, and it's mostly when we're not looking for them that they just indiscriminately just vocalize. And having an interview on the balcony last year, on that balcony over there, that's that exactly, that over there. And the guy doing the interview said, we're talking, he says, hey, did you? He goes, I said, I heard that clears. So we go in, we refute, and sure enough, there's a guy talking. Then there's a girl talking, then there's a guy talking, and he goes, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And 3 times he does it over the course of 30 seconds, and I'm like, and the guy doing the interviews goes, holy crap. I said, yeah, first you have this girl talking, and then you have this guy, and it's just the 2 of us in the house, no television, nothing on, and he's doing the interview on the outside, just talking to me, shooting the shit. And it was like, holy wow.
Wow.
And a lot of this stuff is on my YouTube channel, so you can go check it out there.
Yeah, I definitely will. Check some of it out. So,
and by the way, that the cat ball, here, where is that?
Yeah, the cat balls. Yeah, we use those.
Yeah. And I'm not, where this stupid gosh darn thing began and became a thing in the paranormal.
Well, I just recently in the last year or 2 seen them. I haven't ever seen anybody ever use them up till maybe a year or 2 years ago. This
thing started here at the house about a decade ago.
Really? Wow.
Ron Yacovetti, who's in the East Coast now, lived out here in LA. And here's the thing: the video of this the original video of what took place and how this became a thing. Is on my YouTube channel, and I watched it. It's like 10 years ago. Wow. Ron Yacovetti is down. Do a search on say cat toy omen house under that thing, and you'll find he's down there, and he and Lourdes, his girlfriend, are walking out of the theater room, and about 15, 16, maybe 20 feet away, in the middle of the carpeted room, is not even this one. This wasn't it. This was not the original. The original was it was a yellow, like a neon yellow type of a ball.
Yep.
And it's sitting there in the middle of the thing, and Lourdes turns and looks, and it's on the video, and she goes, "Ron, did you hit the ball?" He goes, "No, I've been standing." She goes, "Well," she's pointing over there. He goes, "Well, the goddamn thing is," and he's like, "Holy shit!" He goes, "I didn't touch it. You didn't touch it." She goes, "Well," he goes, "All right, stop." He goes, "Oh, brilliant idea. He says, he goes, "Let's try this. Let's see if it's a spirit." And I'm like, I'm watching this thing from the cameras up in the office while he's doing this. I'm going, I can't believe this. And he starts asking a question. And now, mind you, it's on a carpet that's got about a half an inch of foam under it, of padding. So it's not like he's jumping up and down.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make contact with this thing to make it work.
Yep.
He's sitting there and he starts asking questions. And sure enough, damn thing starts lighting up.
Oh,
and he's now for 5 minutes, he's having a question and answer session with the ball, and it lights, and it's going on, it's turning off, and he waits a few seconds, asks another question, and then a few seconds later, it lights up. And the stupidest part about this thing, I have cats. It was my cat's freaking toy.
Yep, me too.
This stupid little piece of you know what. The original one was 75 cents.
Yep.
I go on to freaking whatchamacallit on Amazon where I got it originally. I'm like, what the fuck is it, $6?
Yeah, the freaking.
No, it's not a cat toy. It's a paranormal device. And I'm like,
they rebranded it as a paranormal device, and you got it costing you quadruple what originally cost.
And it's ironic, and I mean, I've used it, and I've had people here at the house that have triggered them. And there's one guy, my friend Joey Official from Instagram. He's been here. And I got video of him talking, and the freaking thing is going off on its own for no freaking reason. And I'm like, Joey, every time you come over, you activate the ball. It doesn't do it. And it's like he's like got energy around him that the spirits come around to, and they start. And I like when the ball's under the table, and you're over there, and it's going off on its own for no reason. I've got tons of times he's been here, and it happens. Like,
oh, geez. So, what floor of the house do you think has the most activity? I've heard the first floor.
Remember, let me see.
Yeah, you got 3 levels, I think, don't you? Correct.
Exactly. All right, no, that's not the picture. God, you guys are no help. You really are no freaking help. You know that, spirits? Yeah, I don't have any pictures of that. But the house is street level is, as I call it, is the top floor, which is level 1, which makes sense. Level 2 is the floor below it. And remember, since it's built on a slope of a hill, each floor successively is not as deep. So from there to there is probably about 50, 60 feet. The next floor is like 50 feet, and then the next floor is like 40 feet.
Okay.
So, and what the story is, and by the way, if you like, I can take you guys for a walking tour of the house.
Yeah, we would love that.
On the goddamn laptop, I can go downstairs and show you the earth and water, so you can get a feel.
That'd be awesome to see, Dave.
So we'll do that, but let me just explain. Then I'll take you for the tour. So you have the top floor, which consists of, it's all open. As you stupid shit I'm doing. Shut up! Just shut up. You're dead. You got that? You are dead. You got kind of thing. So you're as dead as a doorknob. Come on. Got to disconnect XYZ. I don't need this. I got myself hooked up to the monitor, to my television, believe.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Difficulties.
We lost microphone.
No, not anymore. You didn't.
There we go.
I pressed something by accident. So I'll show you guys what it looks like here. So you come in the house over here this way. I'll get behind it and show you. So you come in the entrance, and to this side here is the garage, and there's the kitchen. No, we're not going to go into the kitchen because it's too much of a mess. But there's the monitor I was talking to you guys about there. And then there's one of the aquariums. And as you can see, it's a very, very open floor plan.
Yeah.
So this is the living room, because you want to make it feel bigger than it is. And if you close and quadrant off the room and with walls, it doesn't have that type of an open, expansive feel.
It makes it feel enclosed more.
Exactly. There's the Sharon Tate. Exactly. So you want the flow. There's the famous guest bathroom, which Rick McCallum has said that this pathway that you're looking at right here is the portal, or one of the portals.
Okay, one of the portals.
One of the portals right here, yeah. And then, like I said, so here you go into this room, there's the bar and the pastor, and then you're in the den. And you can in television, I mean, the projector there on the wall, I mean, that's the projected image goes on that.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see that. You see how it's set up? That's the screen.
Okay.
And then, of course, the aquarium, and of course, the famous figurines that get knocked over.
Yep.
Which, of course, you can see there. Yeah, I'll even give you a better idea.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, the little bastards keep on getting knocked over by the freaking spirits. There you go. And you'll see. Oh, that was dumb. That was my stupid move. I was trying to. You can see that they don't get knocked.
Yeah, you're jumping. Yeah, they don't wiggle. They don't do nothing.
No, and they say, oh, the fish is doing that. I said, that fish, the fish is knocking the water. I said, how could the fish do that? It's 180
There must be a
pounds.
20-pound bass in there.
Yeah, I mean, look at the size of that son of a bitch. He's a big fish. He's probably about 2 pounds. He's got to be at least 2 to 3 pounds.
Yeah, it's a nice looking fish.
He's a big, yeah. You want to eat him? Yeah, I know you boys. You're like, hey, the muskie, let's go eat the son of a bitch.
You're back.
You know it.
Yeah,
eat that son of a bitch. No, he's beating up some of my fish. So this is the room. So then here's the balcony, and there you can see the city of LA. Hopefully you can see. Can you see that?
Yep.
And here's the house next door that's for sale for $2.2 million. They've totally remodeled the place, as you can see. I hope you can see.
Yeah, we can see it.
See it.
And then look above. Look at the monstrosity being built above me.
What's up there? I was going to ask you that. What's that up there? Because I've seen pictures of a big building or something.
It's the second largest home single family residence in the United States.
Holy, that thing is huge from what I saw from from videos.
Right. Do you guys see that like room there? Or that?
Yeah.
It's not a room. It's got to be about 60 or 70 feet long by about 20 feet tall. And there the bell just rang. It looks like it's going to be a monkey cage.
Oh, geez.
Because it's got rope, like what do you call it? Rope ladder on the inside hanging in such a way. And it's not just one ladder. It's like multiple quadrants.
Oh, geez. So it's probably going to be monkeys in there.
Yeah. So take a look. Here's the hillside. And that's
Dr.
Phil's. You see that monstrosity up there? That's Dr. Phil's.
Oh, that's Dr. Phil's.
That's Dr. Phil's. Here's my old neighbor's house over there. That's a beauty. I forgot the name of the architect. And that right across this canyon is Falcon Lair, where Rudolph Valentino once lived 100 years ago.
Okay. I knew he was up somewhere in that area.
Yep, his spirit's been seen here. So, and by the way, tell me if I'm too low or if the image needs to be raised.
Okay, you're perfect right now.
All right, so now we're going to go down the staircase because I've got the laptop pressed against it. Here's my dog Reggie. Say hi, Ray. He's an old hound. There's my famous barbecue where I make my baby back ribs. Oh, fuck it, we'll go on the balcony since you're on. There's the grill, the Omen grill, and there's some remnants of some chicken that the ravens have come and taken. There's some of the bones of the chicken. I feed the ravens up here.
Freaking, that's good. They're like ravens. They're good.
Oh, they're great. I love my ravens. Not my ravens, but the wild ravens up here. Oh, there's a plug for my movie, House at the End of the Drive, which you can see at houseattheendofthedrive.com. And of course, my book, Ghosts of Cielo Drive, which you can see at ghostsofcielodrive.com. And there, of course, is another portrait of Sharon. And there, of course, is Jay Sebring in the corner there next to the.
Oh, yep.
That's Julie Newmar. That's who that is. That's the apparition who I've seen. The only spirit who I've ever seen was Jay.
Okay. So do you see, do you get the same spirit coming through talking or whatever, or is it different ones?
Always different. Always different. This is the hallway, the famous doors hallway.
Because I didn't know if you had some that would just stick around or if they're just passing through or.
This is the guest bedroom. No, we have. I'd say we have some resident spirits that hang around quite a bit, but we also have spirits that come in with people when they come to visit.
Okay, yep. And then
Of
they
course,
leave when
there's the
they
master
leave.
bedroom, which we don't need to go in, but this is the doors hallway. That's one of my autograph pieces of the doors.
Well, that's freaking cool.
Yeah. I'll show you something that's really cool is this.
Oh, serious?
Yes.
That is awesome.
That's from 1968, I think. I found that when they were in Vegas, this a pit boss had them sign. Did you hear the bell just go off right now?
Yep, it went ding.
Now that we're down here, they're going off upstairs. So this is some more of the just again. You hear that?
Mm-hmm.
There. Thanks, spirits. Much
So, David,
appreciated.
on your book, could you let our viewers know what your book's about?
Book's about the story of the building of the house, the story of the hauntings that have been going on here. The book's basically an authorized biography about my story, because of all the shows I've done, especially, of course, with Ghost Adventures, where I was represented as being a poltergeist agent. And you hear the bell just went off again upstairs, and there's no one here in the house. The cat's not doing it either.
Especially when it always seems like that's when everything ever happens, when you leave the freaking room and you're somewhere else, and then it starts going.
They love to play that, but I have no problem with it. I'm like accustomed to it.
Yep.
But the point is that I said when they were shooting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2018, 7 years ago, I sat there and they were here for 2 solid days. And I mean, days like day and night. They were shooting 24 hours a day practically.
Oh, yuck.
I mean, there were people here, monitoring the equipment, but they were starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning and wrapping at about, it's like 2 in the morning sometimes for the 2 days they were here, because they wanted to get it done and shoot out of here, go to the next location. And I kept on feeling like, something, if you don't write the goddamn story and write it down right and write the truth down and take advantage of this, no one's going to care, and they're all going to be believing the stories that they've been told from the TV shows. And I hated the idea that so much misrepresentation. And what I mean is, with my ghost story, they compressed all of the paranormal activity into appearing as if it happened within the first 2 weeks of living here.
Yep.
It was my ghost story, not my ghost story, paranormal witness, haunted history. Maybe it was paranormal witness, haunted history. One of the 5 of the shows that we did that did the story-based shows, it all compressed the activity to appear like it took place in the first 2 or 3 weeks of living here. And it was and I said, well, I didn't meet that person until 3 years into living here.
Yeah.
And it was so jumbled up that they got the facts right, but they were so out of order that it made it feel like, and I said to my friend, I said, if I'm an observer watching this for the first time, I didn't know the story, and it was me, and you're telling me this, and you didn't say this is my story, I'd say, God, why is the guy living there?
Yeah.
But I said, look, it took place over the stuff that they showed took place over like a 4-year period. And I said, because of the fact that after a few months, you don't sit there and you pine on it. You forget about it and you go on. So it's not like the Amityville Horror. Why was the Amityville Horror so scary? Because it all took place in 28 freaking days.
Yep.
They try to make it feel like the Amityville Horror and everything was happening one on top of the other. I said, look, no, it wasn't. And after a while, I started to say, something? Fuck you. You can't do this shit anymore and think you're going to get a rise at it. And it's true, because if you spend your life on the razor's edge, you're going to go split yourself right down the middle. Yep. And you can't live in that type of a heightened sensory type of a state of mind.
No.
So I just started saying, so it happened. So after a while, I don't want to say the word jaded, but I got jaded. I was like, whatever. You're not, I I said, you got anything else you want to do besides knock the figurines down? I've seen that enough time. You turn the faucet on. I said, all right. See, they said, that was cool. I said, but we're in the middle of a drought. People go, how did you deal with this? I said, I told them we're in the middle of a freaking drought.
But they still did it.
It's costing me money. I said, are you kidding me? When my electric bill goes through the roof and I know who's doing it, I'm like, you bastards. Who the hell do you think you're dealing with?
You got to start paying rent.
Daddy Warbucks. Who the hell do you? I'm not your daddy. I'm not paying for everything. You bastards. You're bleeding me dry. So I didn't really treat it as like scared. Like, oh my God, scared. It's like, oh my God, they're at it again. You little bastards. Just stop that shit. And people go, how do you really mean? I said, yes, I really mean that because it's not, I don't let it affect me. After a while, it's like, all right, can you start doing something new? I said, I'm tired of just the doors being locked. You're locking the bath. There's an example. They locked this the upstairs bathroom door. And I went to the bathroom. I was like, oh, and I hear laughter. I said, you sons of bitches, if I freaking have a damn urinary tract infection because of this, I swear to God, I'll get you something fit. The bell just rang again. And they go, as it happens all the time. I said, I know the damn door was unlocked because I just was in there 5 minutes earlier. So who the hell locked it? And there's only one bathroom on the top floor, so you have to run to the second floor. And that doesn't work. That just is not worth it. That's a broken bladder. So that's why I said to me, it's like, God, after a while, it's like an annoying house guest.
Yep.
You can only take so much without getting upset. And then it's like, all right, it's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You can stop doing that shit now. I'm getting tired. It's enough.
Time to wrap it up.
The truth. So let me show you what's interesting here. This is the famous laundry room. I mean, well, this is the wall. Oh, wow. Wow. I have not felt that kind of energy in a long time. I just felt it's like, oof, like almost feels like you're rocking, like you feel like this, like you're rocking back and forth.
Like you're on a boat?
Yeah. It just feels like you're on a little dinghy and you just feel like you're rocking gently back and forth, but it's not. It's unsettling. And what's interesting is that, I'll turn it around so you can see down this way.
Computer just started flashing. Weird.
This is looking down the hallway. It's really intense right now.
Yeah, my computer blinked when you said that.
Yeah, they're here. Thanks, spirits. And we've had people that have come here, like Scott Michaels was here not too long ago. And his camera was malfunctioning terribly. And this is my office. I'll give you guys just a brief look at the office. Oh, it's intense in here too. It's a little messy. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
There's my.
Oh, that's neat.
There's my sleeping quarters. They just rang the bell again.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's a Halloween prop from years gone by. I saved it and I've kept it around. I couldn't keep it around disassembled, so I decided to put it permanently together and put it into the office. So here we are going down the staircase to the third floor. You guys feeling anything at all? Is anything happening with the cameras? I mean,
mine's kind of blinky on my end of yours on my end is blinky.
Mine's perfectly fine. It ain't doing anything.
Well, speaking of blinky, the gosh darn spirits are playing with the lights here. Right as I say it, are you playing with the lights or are you not playing with the lights? Will you stop playing with the light? Jesus Christ. Can you give it a rest?
Not today.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, we just lost Gene. He dropped.
No, that was weird. My phone thing just fell over on its own.
That's my freaking spirit saying hello.
And it suction cup to my table.
Oh, this is the newest addition to the house, believe it or not. I call it the oversized ball of, I don't even know.
Oh, the big beanbag?
My friend brought it and gave it to me yesterday. I was like, and I shot video of it being brought down here, but it's enormous.
Yeah, those things are, I've had one of those.
He goes, you can sleep in it. I said, what the hell am I supposed to do with it, man?
Yeah, I fell asleep.
I had to get rid of it. I didn't have the space. He goes, but I do. So now it occupies this This is my UCLA man cave.
That is cool.
That's
Here,
neat.
I'll pull back. It's huge.
Holy cow.
Wow.
I just sold a couple of my basketballs. As a matter of fact, I had the 65 team, the 72 team, the 73 team, 65, 69, 75 team that were up there, but I ended up selling them.
That is
And a
awesome.
Bill Walton signed ball.
Wow. Huh. That is freaking awesome. Jeez.
Yeah, it's big.
That's a nice.
Like
That's an
280. I think there's 280 signed mini helmets. Most of them, like 95% of them, are personally signed for me. And then here we're going to go into the earthen wall room.
Yep. That's what I heard. There was a lot of energy in there.
Yep.
And they said the anchors that anchor the house down are acting like antennas. It's amplifying everything more.
Something that there's a theory about that. Yeah.
I heard. That is awesome.
And there's the wine rack. And this is where people sit in the room. And there's one of the cameras right there.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it captures lots of the footage that happens in this part of the house.
How long did it take them to build the house?
It took us about a little over 3.5 years.
Okay.
Oh yeah, since I'm down here, I might as well do the smart thing. I got my homemade dog food here in the freezer, so I was like, "Hey, I don't have any dog food
down here.
something. Son of a bitch."
You don't have to make an extra trip.
Yeah, no kidding. There's one of the, oh wow, did you kill him? Will you stop that? He got a daddy long legs. Apparently, he looks like he killed an insect or two. Now he's spinning around like a little bastard. Hey, stop spinning. No one's interested in you spinning out of control. Well, there's another one right there, another daddy long legs. I let him grow and take care of the insects, the problem insects that are in this house. Here, let me get rid of this here. Oh, yeah, the two kegerators haven't been used in years. What's a sports bar without a bar, right?
Exactly. Yep. I was just going to say, you got to have a bar.
And then, of course, the guest bedroom.
Shit.
This is from the 50th. You can see all the, this from 6 years ago? Yeah, 6 years ago, 2019. You can see all the piece, the posters.
Oh, that's freaking neat. Now, do you have a lot of people come in and investigate your house, or?
I have in the past, not recently. Haven't really done a lot of that. This, of course, is the infamous bathroom. Jesus Christ, man. People that were here forgot to turn off the gosh darn lights. So instead the switch. Jesus Christ, those idiots. This is from a week ago.
Wow.
I took a shower. Forgot to give me the. Well, you don't have to see that. That's just the toilet.
Do you have any events, people coming over, any investigations coming up?
Good question. Honestly, no. We're working on doing a virtual event here, which I thought would be interesting to do. A virtual ghost
they're
hunt.
usually pretty good. They'd be a good one to do in virtual.
You know, a ticketed event, so people would pay like $5, and we're thinking of doing that in like 3 weeks. I thought that'd be fun for people that want to see the house, that can't get access to it. By the way, this is great. Gives you an idea of the view here at this level.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's awesome.
Got lots of wildlife, deer and coyotes.
I got bear.
You what?
I got bear.
You got bear? Holy shit.
We have black bear up here in Brainerd.
We used to have bear here, but apparently they exterminated them all. Grizzly and black bear.
Last summer, my 5-year-old and my 2-year-old, we were outside. Well, she was 1 at the time, and freaking neighbor's dog was barking. What the heck's going on? The other neighbor said, "Well, there's bears in your backyard." So we went in the house and looked out the backyard. There's a mama bear and 3 cubs just running around in the back.
Yes,
Middle of
let
the day.
them do their thing. Just let the
Yep.
mama bear, because if you mess with the mama bear, you're asking for deep.
God, yeah. You try to touch one of those babies, you're done.
Yeah, you just let them alone. Like,
Yep. We see usually probably 3 or 4 a year up here in the backyard.
Right.
But that's the most crazy critters that we see.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that. We have coyotes that are literally walking down the driveway of late because all the fires that happened west of here, they've driven from here. And it was like, I think it was like a couple nights ago, about 7-8 o'clock, I looked out and I could hear them, and I started talking. I said, "Hey guys," I started saying, "Get chate," and it was like broken Native American tongue, and they stopped. I was like, "Holy crap!" But it was amazing because they were just, I saw them literally across the hill, and they were like playing around like a couple of pups, chasing each other and just roughhousing. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Now, your movie that you produced it, right?
Yes.
Now, is that based off your book, or is that based off of?
The book came after the movie, but the movie was based upon my personal experiences here. Dr. Taft's experience here with the, as he told me after his first visit, a week after he visited here, he goes, "I'm having some terribly weird, violent sexual nightmares."
Oh, jeez.
And I said, what? I said, "Barry, what is a weird, violent sexual nightmare?" I got violent and I got sexual, but I don't understand how does that work? So he tells me this. He says, "I'm in my bed and I fall asleep, and the next thing he knows is I wake up in the dream, and I'm in my bed sitting there, and there are 3 topless girls crowding around me, and they're massaging me and caressing me." I said, "Oh." And he goes, "Yeah, they're just drop dead gorgeous." I said, "That's cool." He said, "All of a sudden I feel this like pain in my stomach." So he goes, "I raise my head up and I look, and I notice that they're now sticking their hands into my guts and tearing my guts out."
Oh, jeez.
And I said, "Oh my God, Barry, what the?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, then I said, what? He goes, "I wake up, I go into the kitchen, I make myself something to drink, and I sit down and I read the newspaper, for a few minutes, and then I go back to bed." I said, "Oh God, thank God." He goes, "Thank God, my ass." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It picks up where it left off."
Oh no.
Oh, God.
I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "As soon as I fall back into a deep sleep, it just starts like taking a record, like taking a record, a disc, and lifting the needle up on the stylus on the arm, and then dropping it right back down where." I said, he goes, "Oh no." He goes, I said, "What?" He goes, "I get up again. I go in the kitchen. I said, I make something to eat, and I sit down. I'm like shaking my head in disbelief, and I go back to bed after a half an hour, thinking I'm all right."
Yep.
Picks up again where it left off. I said, wow. "Oh my God." He goes, "Oh my God, my foot." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "The same freaking dream's been going on for the past 4 nights, and it's been Lord. The same exact story. I wake up and it picks up. I go in, it picks up right where go back to sleep, picks up right where it left off."
Wow, that's intense.
That's crazy.
So we put that scene into the movie. I didn't at the time. Manson was still alive, and I didn't want to bring any more attention to Manson. So I changed. I took some literary license, and I kept the Sharon Tate character. I kept the Abigail Folger character, but I changed her from being the coffee heiress to being the heiress to a restaurant chain.
Okay.
I took J.C. bringing in his character, instead of being a hairstylist to the stars, he was a costume designer to the stars. Okay. And instead of Wojciech Frykowski being there and Stephen Parent being there, I replaced them with the Roman Polanski character, film producer, who's connected to the Sharon Tate up-and-coming movie star character.
Okay.
We kept the setup of a male and 3 females being the murderers, but we changed the guy's motivation completely so it would disempower the Manson
Yep.
attention getters. And we created a backstory for him that was totally unique but interesting. Um, but a lot of the stuff that's in the movie is based on the true story. Like, for instance, we have tourists that come to the end of the drive. It's represented in the film. Um, One of the funniest, craziest stories that happened, I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, look where I am, is represented by Lance Henriksen, who plays the contract laborer who shows up at the residence by chance years after he was here building the house, communicating his story to the present homeowner of the house. And the story is verbatim what I'm about to tell you now, which happened. And I'll show you where it happened right there. And I'll walk you through it. Now, at the time, this wall that you see here doesn't exist. It's just open.
Okay.
So it's all open. So from the ceiling all the way over down, that's all open. So you can see, and I'll show you what I mean. All of this is just like this. It's just all open. So this is just
wide open
going up. And it's a stairwell. Contract labor is here, and he's working. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening on a Wednesday, middle of the week, and he hears voices and footsteps. I'll leave it open. Fine, I'll leave it open. Stop it. He hears voices and footsteps coming down the stairwell to here, and he's like, Senor Paul, Senor David. He thinks me and my father here. So he goes up the staircase to the top floor, and he gets up to the top of the stairs. He looks around. He's saying, Senor Paul, Senor David. And he's looking around. There's no one there. He then comes back down the staircase. Oh, yeah. All right, fine. I'll show them. I'm being goddamn. It must be like Cecil B. DeMille's ghost here giving me goddamn pointers. Says they want me to show you this. Look at this. So I don't know if you can see it. So there's that's what he wants me to show you. The stairs going up. Where the fuck?
Yep.
So there you go. So he goes to the top of the stairs there, and you can imagine the sound carries.
Oh, I bet it.
Here. And look, it's 8 feet this way. It's 8 feet here. it's 8 feet across and 8 feet, and it goes up all that way. But you can hear it's like the sound carries like crazy. That's why I ended up building this whole wall here.
Yeah, to shut it out.
We just shut down and put the doors here because it cuts down all the noise. Yeah. But at the time, when he's here, he's sitting here in this room working. And so he goes up there, he goes, I go on the street. There's no one there because the street's empty. And this is the middle of July, mind you. And I said to him, I've been there at 7 o'clock in the middle of summer. No one's here. The place is all dead empty. He goes, people don't get back. And I said, he goes, no, it's light. It's lit. I said, the whole place is wide, well lit. I said, well, look, right now it's 7 o'clock here. And look at the gosh darn thing. This is the summer. This is the same period of time we're talking about. So he goes outside, sees nothing, goes through the entire top floor, no one. He goes through the second floor, nothing. Comes back down here, starts working. 5 minutes later, he hears voices and footsteps again from the top floor. So he goes rushing upstairs with a hammer in his hand. He's like going, "Donde está, donde está?" He does. And mind you, the walls are all up. The house has got, the windows are in, but the air conditioning is in, but it's not turned on. So there's no explanation for what's going on. It's not like the sounds are from outside pouring in.
Yeah.
He goes through inside the freaking house and he hears them coming down the stairwell. And at the time, we're about 6 months from completion. So not 6 months, about a year from completion. But he's like, he goes, I don't understand this. So he goes back down here. Now that he's tired, he goes into the room behind me and he starts packing his bags. He says he now hears the sounds of footsteps coming down the wooden treads, because at the time the staircase is in and there are wooden treads that are there, these 2x12s that are in there. And he goes, he hears the sounds of leather-soled shoes hitting the wooden treads, getting louder and louder as they're coming down the spiral staircase. So he gets into this room here and is hiding here like this. And he's, mind you, it's like, let's say it's about 12 feet, 15 feet away. He says, he listens, and he says the sound of the footsteps got so loud, it just stopped when it got to the landing. And mind you, it's all wood. There's no carpet here. So he's hearing the sounds that are basically reverberating against the hardwood on the floor and the drywall. and he's hearing it. He comes rushing out here, comes to the bottom line like this. He goes, there's no one there. He goes, and then it happens. He says this ice cold breeze. He describes it like a wedge of ice comes to the back of his neck, above his shoulder blade, below his hairline. So right in this little spot here, this tenderloin spot of the neck, here, he describes like a 2-inch band of ice going like this across the back of his neck slowly. He says he stood, his body got totally erect and just frozen like this. He says all the hairs in his body, funny enough, like mine,
standing up,
standing straight up. And he says, a dos míos, llame boy, which means, oh my God, I'm leaving. He didn't come back for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
At that time, we were getting done. We were basically in the home stretch of the house, meaning we were getting ready to get the finished I guess you call it the rough contracting done. I mean, the rough building done, meaning we were going to get all the guys who were here doing all the rough, putting up the drywall and all that stuff out. And the next step of the process was getting the guys who are going to put in the granite for the counters and the mirrors and all that stuff that has to be the finished stuff that you do with the plumbing and all that shit, the finish. So I'm sitting there waiting for him to get back here because he's the guy that's doing the tile work. Now, he's done every single room in the house. He's done every bathroom. He's in the kitchen. He's done all the bathrooms. He hasn't gotten to the master bathroom yet. And I'm like getting very impatient. So let's get this goddamn show on the road. Let's get this thing done. He's nowhere to be found. So I said to the guys, I said, what's his face? He goes, he won't be back. He's in San Salvador taking care of his sick mom. And I'm like, after 3 weeks, I said, that's it. I'm going to do it myself. I saw what he did. I said, he splatters some mud on it, puts it down, and puts the tiles in. As easy as it looks. I'm here to tell you, don't be an idiot. It's not what it looks like. He's been doing it for 10 years. I couldn't just hear the bell again. I did it myself, and I did it in the master bathroom, the crown jewel of the bathrooms of the house.
Yep.
I didn't realize that these were natural stone that we used and picked for the master bathroom floor. He goes, Lord. With natural tile, he goes, there's veins that are running through, so each piece has to be taken out of the box and laid out. So you can arrange them like a jigsaw puzzle. Nobody told me this shit. I'm looking at all these guys trying. I'm looking at all the production tiles that we have here at the house that are either they're man-made, so some of them have got prints. We have one of the bathrooms got marble. My dad got these tiles that were printed marble on the freaking tiles, so they look like they're marble, but they're not. They're regular ceramic tiles. So I'm like, okay, because even those you have to decide. I said, I didn't know that. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, didn't you ever watch? He goes, I didn't pay attention. He goes, well, obviously you saw me doing this and this. That's why you saw. But beforehand, so to this day, some of the tiles are closer to the others. Some are a little bit taller than the others. So it's like this. And he goes, you look at the veins. He goes, look at the way the vein goes. He goes, you have a vein going this way, and then you have a vein on this one going this way, and you have them next to one another where they want to. So you can basically say this tile goes with this tile, this tile. He goes, but you can't do that with them because you set them in gosh darn, and stucco. Oh shit! And he goes, yeah. He goes, I can't believe you did this. And he said, I got tired of waiting. I said, why did you come back? He goes, because I realized I didn't get paid for the prior 3 weeks. So I came back. He goes, but do you notice who was the first person to leave at the end of the day after I came back? He goes, yeah, you. He goes, I would never be the second person on the job site to leave because I didn't want to be stuck there by myself ever again. So we incorporated that story into the movie, the story of what happened here on the floor with him running out of the house, and Lance Henriksen does that monologue and nailed it. Some of the other stuff in the movie we talk about, obviously, the Sharon Tate murders, insofar as the tragedy and how terrible it was, but we don't exploit the fact that my character is not pregnant. She is not. I didn't want to do that, but she looks a lot like Sharon. And here's a story that happened in the room behind us, specifically dealing with that actress. The room behind us was the makeup room. And all right, fine, I'll show them. God, you guys are so fucking bossy. All right, right there. And I'll show you. All right, so right in front of you. Let me see how you're looking there. All right, so right there, exactly. Right here in this area were two makeup tables. And there's about from here to here, and this is a big mirror here, and then over here was one. The makeup artist has got the girl that looks like Sharon in the makeup in the one of those canvas director's chairs, and she's sitting here, and she's looking, and she says, "I'm using in my reference." She says, "Let me see this." Wait. She goes in this corner. I got of the mirror. I've got an 8x10 black and white picture of Sharon Tate that I use as a reference. So I'm doing her makeup, and she's sitting here, and I keep going like this and like this. She goes. She gets up and she walks in the room. She goes. I turn my head here and I look, and in this corner. She says, I see a color image of Sharon Tate's face.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, wait a second. I don't have a color image of Sharon Tate's face as a reference. I have a black and white. And she goes, and it's not on the left upper corner of the mirror. It's in the right upper corner of the mirror. So she turns and looks here, sees the black and white photograph, turns back here to look to see there's nothing the hell there.
Oh, wow.
She tells us this 6 months after when we did the wrap party here, 6 months later, she told us that story. And she goes, do you remember? She says, do you remember when we wrapped the movie? I was like, yes, of course I remember when we wrapped the movie. She goes, do you remember who the first person was to get the hell out of your house? And she goes, I said, oh yeah. I said, I remember right as soon as we said it's a wrap that you grabbed the two of the 4 PAs, and you had them haul your gosh darn makeup tables and mirrors the hell out of the house and up the side staircase. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I want to get the out of your house as fast as I could. I kid you not.
Wow.
The third, let's see, there are 2 other incidents that happened with the crew here. In the room right behind us again. I'll show them. God. Damn, editorializing the ghost. In this room, my key grip, Charles Gould, was staying in this bed. Well, not in this bed. He was staying in the bed that was in this spot. It wasn't a king size. It was a queen size bed. Every morning at the crack of dawn, he said that somebody would come in and tug at his feet.
Huh.
Now, mind you, there's the door. You see, there's the door right there.
Yep.
It was locked from the inside. He said the last night he was here, we had a seance upstairs, and we had an 1880s spirit board, which is an old plank of wood it wasn't plywood. It was like probably about 18 inches by about 20 inches, maybe 24 inches, a foot and a half by 2 feet. Okay. And it was all burned in. It looked like a Ouija board without the Ouija board symbol on it. So he said, nothing happened. I said, fine. So he comes back here and he goes to bed, and he's sitting on this side of the bed. He says, I'm on this corner, on this side of the bed. I go to bed. He goes, and all of a sudden I hear a voice say, you're coming with us. And he says he feels his body being dragged up to the corner of the ceiling over there.
Oh, geez.
He says, no, put me down, put me down. Now, this guy is 6'2" at about 280 pounds. And he's a South African gentleman, but he's a complete skeptic. He says, the next thing I know is I find myself sitting bolt upright in bed on that side of the bed.
Wow.
Where's my hand?
Don't see it.
No shit. Oh,
right there.
Yep. He's on this side of the bed here instead. So he goes from this side of the bed. He goes, I end up on this side of the bed. And I'm sitting bolt upright in this bed right here. He goes, it's impossible, he says. It's absolutely positively impossible. It took him 6 months to tell us about the story, and he was still shaken by it.
Wow.
And the third story was, in the kitchen was my line producer. So she was making something to eat, and she's in the kitchen, and she says, going into the refrigerator, and I turn my head and I look, and there's a 18-inch by about 20, a foot and a half by about a 2-foot window that's there. That's a little tiny window and over the sink. She goes, as I'm turning my head towards the window, I see somebody walking by the window. And she describes him having straight black hair, kind of kinked, and he's, like 30 years old, and he's a good-looking guy, and he's turning his head. As he's turning his head to the right, she's turning her head to the left, and their eye meets as he crosses the window frame. And she goes, "Wait a second." She goes, "That's not possible." She's been here a few times. She goes, "That's not." So she runs outside, goes out the front door, goes to the side staircase, and looks down the side staircase. The window is here, and the side staircase is here, and it's probably about a 17-foot space between where the window is and where the stairs are on the side of the house.
Oh wow!
And she describes it. So I then of course, I had pictures of the victims. So I pulled out the picture that I showed you that I have of Jay Sebring, and I said, "Is that?" She goes, "Yeah, that's him." I said, "He died some 40 some odd years earlier."
Oh jeez.
36 years, and she goes, "Oh my gosh!" She goes, "That's him. I saw him, and he was walking straight across." I said, "It's impossible." I said, "We don't have any gosh darn running boards on the side of the house, like scaffolding." She goes, "I know what I saw, and he wasn't like walking at an angle. He was walking straight across, as if he was walking just on flat land."
Wow. That's something. Jeez.
So those are some of the Easter eggs of the story behind the movie. And as far as the movie is concerned, it's an original story. It's a fun little movie. I think people will enjoy it because it's not the same tripe that you're seeing of the remakes of some old motion picture of a TV show. And more importantly, it's a fun ride. It's not like the Toxic Avenger.
Oh God.
Remade. I'm like, I couldn't believe that they made it in the first place. But
now they're remaking it, ain't they?
Chroma Pictures, I met him years ago. John Gabardi, I forget his name, but and like I said, it's a fun movie. It's a fun story. People actually enjoy it. So I really liked it. It's like good. So they can rent it at houseattheendofthedrive.com. There's a link to the rental of that.
Perfect. Well, we're gonna call the wraps, David. It was an honor to have you on our show tonight. We really appreciate it.
You're the first guy on a podcast that I've actually taken for a tour through the house.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think you got
appreciate it. We enjoyed it. It was really cool.
Well, it connects the dots, and people go, "That's what wow!" I didn't, especially the earthen wall room. People don't, understand that, and it's just all the houses that are built on the side of a hill have that. Most of them don't have it as accessible as I do, but they all have the accessibility to that area because that's where all of the the piping, the air conditioning ducts, and a lot of that stuff is accessed there. So I just my dad chose not to hide it as much as he wanted to infuriate me to turn this floor into an apartment. He goes, I said, "Well, I'm turning this place into an apartment because I'm leaving that look like shit." It's like, fine, leave it. I don't care. If that's what I have to do, I'll turn it into a kitchenette. And he goes, "It'll be $25,000. I'm like, where? Wow. It was like a bluff. So I said, fine. So I did it for like less than $3.
There you go.
See, Dad, I told you I would get it done for less than $25,000. They're going, yeah, right. So you called my bluff. Good for you.
That's funny. But again, David, thank you so much. Thank you for giving the tour of the house. It was amazing. You put the image to your stories of stuff, what's going on, where stuff happened. It was a great interview. We appreciate you being on.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're ever out in California and Los Angeles, don't call me. No.
I got your number.
I was gonna say, call him and tell him to come. He's like, no, let's just say the Spirit's like, no, tell him not to come over. That'll be more fun. How are you, Don Rickles? I met you once, Don. You were good. Weren't that good, but you were good.
That was fun.
You guys heard that? Obviously, give me a call and check out. Come here and check out and do a show from LA and say we're at the
we'd love to because we do all our shows. Everything's live, so we'd love to end the summer there.
And you can actually take a spin on that thing there, that the big black, whatever it is, the monster. It's like it's the fucking blob. Look at that thing.
Yeah, those things are huge.
I can't believe it. Like I said, beanbag. I said, oh, it's not that. The hell is this thing? It's like, yeah, it grew.
It's like the little beanbag you ate, the big bag that got eaten.
Got eaten by like a couple of hundred of those little beanbags. Got eaten by
the hacky sacks. They all freaking formed together and developed a big.
The Revenge of the Hacky Sack. Yeah, try to knock that with your feet.
All right, David. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
My
Dave.
pleasure. Thanks for having me on. You two take care of yourselves and hit
You
me up
too.
if you come to LA.
You
You'll
too.
have a blast
Yeah,
here. I promise.
Well, we'll be in
Well.
touch. Thanks, David.
All right. Take care.
You too.
All right.